Deutschmark, which is the German currency before, or the euro, what they would normally do is go out and buy dollars, have dollars in their pockets, or what's called a reserve, and then pay with everything in dollars. Now this news with the UAE and other countries doing direct border swaps, paying somebody directly in their currency instead of dollars, is going to collapse the demand for the dollar. And that means that once all those dollars come home, the value of the dollar is going to collapse because there's more dollars overseas than in the United States. And it's simple supply and demand. If there's more of something, the value of it goes down. If there's less of something, the value goes up. This is part of the reason why we have the inflation right now, because we've been printing money since the 2008 and 2009 crisis. And now we're starting to kind of pay the piper, so to speak. So let me know if you guys enjoyed that. It's a little bit more technical than that, but I always like to do these videos to kind of describe that to you because I want you guys to learn. Because obviously during a crisis, remember, even though there's a lot of bad news, there's always an opportunity to make money. And when things are bad, it's one of the best times to make money. Okay. Saudi Arabia, remember last week, announced that, I mentioned to you guys a moment ago, U.S. crude is down over 2% for the week. Brent, which is the international crude, went down over 1%. And now, outside of the egg prices exploding, we also have orange juice now, which is expected to explode. There is not a shortage, but I would say that Florida now has the lowest crop in 90 years, thanks to the hurricanes that hit the state. And in addition to that, we've had the frost, the bad weather, and also there's a disease, for example, that's eating a lot of the orange groves. So expect, if you like orange juice, probably should buy it now instead of later, even though it expires pretty quickly. Gold hit a high of $1,943.80, the highest since April. China's largest publicly traded brokerage is seeing record highs for gold in 2023. China is the biggest consumer of gold, followed by India. India is more kind of a cultural thing, right? They amass the gold for wealth. When they have weddings, they give away a lot of that gold, things like that, whereas China is a little bit different. Gold went up 0.06% to $1,928. Silver went down 1.30% to $23.70. And in the financial and banking news, this is what I wanted to explain a little bit to you guys about the dollar. The total debt right now is $31.4 trillion. The annual tax revenue, which is the budget, essentially, well, not the budget, but the money that the government takes in is $4.9 trillion. Now, we have a deficit because the budget is higher than that, but that's the money that the government takes in, right? The interest on the debt, just the interest on the debt, is $1.2 trillion by 2024. This is based on 1% interest rate. So if you do the math, with the money...
No hay retirada. No hay rendición. Esa es la ley espartana. Y como exige la ley espartana, nos quedaremos y lucharemos. Y moriremos. Una nueva era comienza. Una era de libertad.
Not debt, but not the total budget of the U.S. government, but the actual money that they take in. The amount of money that we're paying just on interest on the debt is 25% of the money coming in. I say the budget, but the budget obviously is a little bit higher. Now, this is assuming that the interest rates are going to continue at 1%. Now, remember that now, the government has to recycle that debt eventually, right? Because we can't pay it back. We don't have $30 trillion. So imagine that 25% that we have to pay every year of the money that's coming in rising when now the interest rates are 1%. The debt now was 1%, right? I don't think I said that properly. So let me back up a little bit. 1% is the amount that we're paying now on the debt. And if we were to take out those loans or refinance them now, we're talking about 5%. So literally, this is kind of the catch-22 that the central bank of the United States is in, because if they raise the interest rates too high, the government can't afford to pay its debts. But if they don't raise it, then the government's going to go bankrupt anyway because of inflation. So you see how we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And this is why I'm telling you guys to prepare, because remember, the preppers were right. Egg prices are up 138% from last year. December 2021, a dozen eggs was $1.78. Last December 2022 was $4.25. I had somebody send me a video from New York City. There was a half dozen eggs for $8. Just ridiculous. There's a farmer advocate organization that's saying that the record-breaking prices of eggs don't have to do with the avian flu and all the chickens that they had to put down. It's also not because of the inflation. They're saying that all of these big egg companies are colluding with each other and actually raising the prices. Natural disasters and global economic losses totaled $313 billion in 2022. That's 57% above the 21st century average. So essentially, it's 57% above the not the historical average, but the average in general. Remember, in 2020, I mentioned to you guys the next 10 years, this next decade is going to be challenging, to say the least. Economic problems, social problems, and environmental problems. I think we're going to start seeing the disasters kind of escalate. I was going to say something, but I don't think I'll pass. Wednesday, the Central Bank of Canada raised its interest rate to a 15-year high at 4.5%. The interest on the treasury yields, the inversion is continuing to increase, which means that that's an indicator of the recession, as I explained to you guys last week. And Goldman Sachs is saying that in 4 cities, we're likely to see a crash in prices of over 25%. Austin, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, San Diego, and San Jose in California. They're expecting prices nationally to go down by 6%, with mortgage rates at 6.1%.
Financiero o financiera, un gusto saludarte. Mi nombre es Isaac Badillo y en este espacio te voy a mostrar los diferentes productos, servicios bancarios. Yo soy Isaac Badillo, tengo 9 años de carrera bancaria al día de hoy, año 2019, y quiero compartir contigo todo lo que he aprendido. El mundo bancario es bastante amplio y aquí te voy a compartir las diferentes herramientas, productos, servicios que pueden ser de tu utilidad. Bienvenido y que disfrutes este espacio.
Pending home sales did suffer their worst annual sales on record. That's even with the increase in the sales in December. So remember that almost 70% of the economy in the United States is consumer spending. The housing market, construction, all that is about an average of 17%. So worst drop on record. People not buying houses, that's 17% of the economy's consumers are being just choked with inflation. Things are not going to end up good. But remember, you can still make money. You can still do really well. Global smartphone shipments plunged by the most on record as well. This to me is kind of a really big indicator because, you know, consumers like to go out and have new phones. It's kind of what we do, right? We go out, get the upgrade every year. Now that they're buying a lot less phones, that gives us another indication of what the consumer is doing. Because if the consumer isn't going out and spending money, remember that's 70% of the economy in the U.S. Most other advanced economies, meaning the entire world outside of Africa and a handful of countries in Southeast Asia, the majority of the economy is also consumer spending. Political news, Emerson College released a poll. We're going to start with the polls for the presidential election. They're saying that Orange Man, I'm not going to say his name, so I won't ban this channel too, because I already had a channel that was banned, supposedly is leading Biden by 4%. You know, we'll probably get into these debates, these ridiculous debates over the next few years now. Peru, because of the protests and the a bad situation that they're having in the country, closed Machu Picchu and left 417 tourists stranded. Colombia's still open, guys. Don't forget to come and visit Medellin. I got a few projects out there you guys are going to want to see. FBI agent, this is, I want to preface this with, I'm apolitical when I do these videos, right? So I'm not on one side or the other because I think it's important just to provide you the facts so you guys can learn. But I thought this was helpful.